Hello everyone. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you in person today, but I hope you're having a lovely conference. And I'm here to tell you about seals around the Southwest in 2024, mostly Devon and Cornwall, with inputs from other areas. We always like to thank our funders, public, private, and voluntary, because they fund our 1.8 full-time equivalent rangers who look after all of our volunteer network. In 2024, across Devon and Cornwall, we completed 4,332 surveys, that's 12 every day, and we had 335 citizen scientists who make all our incredible discoveries possible. Dorset did their first Dorset-wide census in October, with 44 volunteers putting in 17 hours and counting 16 seals. Sorry, 78 hours and counting 16 seals. Dorset Wildlife Trust also recorded 266 ad hoc seal sightings, which were mostly grey seals. We did 20 boat surveys across Cornwall with 188 volunteers, but Alderney Wildlife Trust did an additional 2 in May and October, recording 99 grey seals. In Guernsey, they did 3 boat surveys across July, August, and October with a total of 79 seals. And Jersey Marine Conservation did 5 surveys, which totaled 29 seals, most of which were adult females. We got data from Devon and Cornwall across 314 locations in multiple types of habitat. On average, there were 10 seals, a maximum of 454, which was down on previous years. 66% were as before adults, and we had 57% males and 43% females, which is pretty much the same as we've had for the last 2 years. In Chichester, the counts that they did there at multiple sites peaked in May, and the Sussex Seal Project had 441 seal sightings confirmed in 2024. Grey seal pups, well, they had 542 sightings of these at 43 locations, which included 3% of sightings at 8 locations on the south coast, 1% of all our seals sighted, and we had in Hampshire, the first pup was born upriver. Very exciting. Our long-term data shows that pupping season is moving earlier from October and November now to September, followed by August. In fact, in 2024, we had almost as many pups born in August as September, and 48 more born in August than in October. So the season is definitely shifting earlier. And peak haul-out season has moved from March and April through earlier in the year to January and December, and the same was true in 2024. As far as harbour seals are concerned, well, we had 58 records with 72 sightings. Most of them were single seals, but there was a maximum of 3 seals seen in one survey. 2 of them, rather special, were released in a river in South Devon, and one of them swam 250 kilometres in less than 18 days, and the other 300 kilometres in less than 52 days. In South Devon, you can see in the inset photo, there was a harbour seal mum who had her 3rd pup on a Devon pontoon. In Chichester, surveys recorded 6 harbour seals on the 27th of June, and the Dorset Seal Project had 10% of their seal sightings made up by harbour seals. We also had 2 vagrant seal species, in July a ringed seal and in September a hooded seal. Coincidentally, we had a hooded seal 10 years and 20 years ago, and we had a harp seal, another vagrant seal species, 20 years ago. So we're wondering if there might be a decadal pattern here. We processed 116,000 photos in 1,427 survey albums, and an example of a seal that we saw is Rabbit F, who was an ex-rehab seal from the late 1990s, but we were never able to match her to a specific tag seal. In total, we got 11,694 IDs, 85% of which were re-IDs, 3,217 unique seals with a maximum of 180 in a single survey. On this particular photograph, we've got the 9th of April from North Devon, where all 9 seals that were seen were identified. That's quite unusual. In the main photo, we've got Carousel from 8th of January. Her first ID was in November 2001, but we had 36 seals who were ID'd for over 20 years. 7 of them were males and 29 were females. And the inset photo is a photo of Fiver at the top right, who's been identified in Dorset 55 times in the last 10 years. And then in the inset photo on the left, we've got Sammy, who was identified by the SEAL Project in South Devon since 2023. In addition, we've got Riviera, who's been identified in Sussex since 2020. We partner with Cornwall Wildlife Trust Marine Strandings Network and identified 4 dead seals in 2024. And what's concerning is none of them had reached old age. Praying Snoopy in the main photo was first ID'd in 2014 and she died at the age of 12 or 13 years old. Hanging Eyes, who is a male, died at 14. Paris Key, who is a male, died at 5. And Shoulder Mitten at 10. So they are not living to the average life expectancy of 25 for a male and 30 for a female. Cornwall Wildlife Trust Marine Strandings Network recorded 246 dead seals, which is down from 301 the previous year. There were more white-coated and molted pups in August than October, which is suggestive and backs up this idea of an earlier pupping season. White-coat pups and molted pups made up almost half of all the dead seals, which is the same as what happened in 2023. Sadly, for the last 8 years, we've had more dead seals in Cornwall than births, an overall loss of over 650 seals. And whilst our population appears stable, this is suggestive of immigration. Cornwall Marine Pathology team did 29 post-mortems, providing vital data, and 5 adults, 5 juveniles, 17 molted pups, and 4 white-coat pups. The main cause of death was infection, followed by trauma and 1 other. A brand new mycoplasma species was identified that was detected in 2 molted pups, which is a bit worrying. And the photo shows a suppurative infection of the rhinopharyngeal lymph nodes in a pup with this new mycoplasma infection. British Divers Marine Life Rescue Seal Hospital had nearly 80 seal pups in the 2024-25 season, which is slightly down on the previous 2 years. There were 910 sightings of 164 different tag seals, making up 5% of all sightings. A couple of old ones, including Puffer, who was released at Sennen, and she was identified 112 times between 2003 and 2024. In addition to RSPCA and Cornish Seal Sanctuary catalogues, a photo ID catalogue has been created for RSPCA Manadams for their releases by the Sussex Seal Project, which enables them to re-identify tag seals as well. There were 719 sightings of 82 different entangled seals, which is 3% of all seals identified, with a maximum of 14 in a single survey, including the seal in the photo. There were 6 hooked seals. The one in the photo has got a hook in his rear flippers and a hook in his mouth, and they're attached, so that's got to be painful. And the bottom left photo shows Tangles, an entangled seal in South Devon who's been identified since 2022. 85% of UK bycatch is in the southwest UK, and that's Sea Mammal Research Unit data. This juvenile that was recorded at Pentuan in May 2024 by CWT MSN had linear marks encircling the leading edge of its right foreflipper, abrasions to 1 intact eye and its eyelids and its muzzle, internal pulmonary congestion, froth in its airways, renal subcapsular hemorrhage, and all of these are indicators of very suspicious bycatch. There was a dead tagged harbour seal in Dorset that was traced back to the east coast, which is really exciting as a novel movement. In terms of disturbance, we had 2,354 seals at all levels disturbed in 322 incidents, which is 8% of all surveys and 6% of all seals. This included 930 seriously disturbed seals in 160 incidents, which is down from the previous year, and we're hoping that's due to all of our awareness raising work. A maximum of 56 seals were disturbed on the 10th of January with the cause unknown. 4 of the incidents were reported and actioned by a harbour master, a Natural England letter to an operator, and a crime number for a police action. The main photo shows a whole shed load of seals stampeding into the sea at North Cornwall. The Dorset Seal Project also put up a Give Seal Space sign at Dirtle Door. And what do we do with all that data? Well, we share it. We did 117 talks and 22 workshops. Dan Jarvis and myself participated on 2 Wildlife Safe Scheme courses. 44 volunteers participated in our free online training. We did 8 talks for schools, and I ran 4 Field Studies Council eco-skills courses over 16 weeks. In Hampshire, the British Divers Marine Life Rescue hosted 10 events, including an Environmental Awareness Day. Our volunteers do engagement with people while they're doing surveys, and we had 164 incidents of these that involved 2,741 people. Rob Wells, one of our volunteers, did walks and talks for a first ever Lundy Field Society field course. Looks like they had great weather. We attended 422 meetings giving seals a voice, including in Cornwall Council's local nature recovery strategy. We wrote 30 reports, including our annual report, and of course our 2024 annual report is out now if you wish to see it. We input to 54 public consultations, 22 of which were about conservation, 17 for developments, 8 on issues, 3 for fisheries and 4 others. We have 2 campaigns running. The first one was disturbance. We want to get seals added to the Wildlife and Countryside Act to make seal disturbance illegal. In 2024, we did our first manifesto for seals. We had 2 visits from the DEFRA Seal Policy Advisor. We helped Wildlife and Countryside Link write a briefing explaining the need for the law change. We had Natural England's National Enforcement Team down on a visit. I asked DCC Nigel Harrison to request that he relooks at the wildlife crime priorities and review them. Did participation in research with drones with Natural England, and came out with the recommendation of a minimum flight height of 110 metres for a minimum time, and to not do it at all if the weather was quiet. The MMO are producing a national standardised coastal wildlife disturbance recording platform, and we're helping with that. Our data was sent to the Wildlife and Countryside Link Wildlife Crime Report, and we did a presentation to Devon and Cornwall Police at their Wildlife Crime Conference. The second campaign is for flying rings, where we did a parliamentary petition that was sadly dissolved when the election was announced. Swansea Council have decided there should be no sales of flying rings on their patch and not used on their beaches. They've been banned by Great Yarmouth, Kings Lynn, North Norfolk and Tiverton councils. We've had multiple letters to retailers, with some major stores taking them off the shelves, which is great news. Industrial rings are also an issue though, and the main photo shows the rescue of a seal from an anti-foul paint tin seal, but gaskets are also an issue. So it's not just toys, it's industrial plastic rings as well. And unfortunately, top left photo shows a new seal that was in a flying ring in South Devon over Christmas in 2024. So we have lots of new resources, 5 of them, including these 2 stickers, a paddle sport and a boat sticker. If you wish to have them for yourself or to distribute them, you just need to email us and tell us how many you want. We produced a new Enjoy, Respect, Protect leaflet that explains why seals need us to have best practice around them, and then what best practice looks like for different user groups. And we also created a photography best practice poster. This says that you don't name sensitive seal sites in public, and you don't use photos of seals looking at the camera because they've likely been disturbed. And on our social media, we try to show people how far away we are from seals, and we put stickers on our photos to show people that these photos were taken following DEFRA and WISE best practice. In 2024, we continued with the Marine Carbon Dioxide Ocean Alkalinity Enhancement Geoengineering Project in St Ives Bay. We continued to engage with it before it was licensed. We had 2 more meetings in South West Water. We did a meeting with Planetary Technologies where they presented their baseline survey data. We input for the buoy licence with Plymouth Marine Laboratories for the MMO. They had a second public protest that was organised by Keep Our Sea Chemical Free. The Seal Research Trust and Portsmouth University are collaborating on baseline dive surveys in St Ives Bay that will continue in 2025. Celtic Sea Power are deploying recorders for seal vocalisations and 360 cameras. We're collaborating on a research paper that's currently in press by Manchester University, and the photo shows the Keep Our Sea Chemical Free documentary premiere. If you would like to see that documentary, you just need to get in touch. But 88 media coverages from regional, national and international news, including this one on Canadian TV about planetary technologies. We had 14 stalls and events, including a 6-month exhibition called A Seal Story at the Jackson Foundation in West Cornwall. So some highlights to finish. 2 of our hubs, the St Austell Bay Hub and the Lizard Hub, are 10 years old. The map shows the St Austell Bay Hub at the orange star, and seals from that site have been seen across the Celtic Sea, Southwest Wales, Southwest Wales, Isles of Scilly, northern France and Dorset. Second highlight was that one of our volunteers, Martin Yelland, saw a pup being born. It's only the second time in 22 years that that's been witnessed, and a mum feeding 2 pups, which is only the third time in 24 years. And if you want to see photos of those, which are quite amazing, I can tell you, the SWME Seal webinar shows this and also tells you about the new science that we learnt about mating between seals. Quick plug, we've got our 25th anniversary on the 10th of July at Bogie at Crantock. This is a view from the picnic area. If you want to come along or you want to find out more details, just email Jeremy and he will send you more information. So to finish, emerging issues, well, they're pretty much the same as they were last year in that we are everywhere. Hooked seals, probably because of spatial and temporal changes in seal and mackerel shifts, are still present. Drone disturbance, well, we've now got best practice from our work with Natural England, remembering 110 metres minimum flight height, minimum time, and not on quiet days. There is a problem with the lack of rehabilitation space. We've got new pathogens, this new mycoplasma species, and also avian flu in seals. There has been the phenology shifts of peak call-outs and pupping. We've got these new marine geoengineering projects, which the International Maritime Organization have said can have unknown deleterious effects. Pharmaceutical runoff continues to be a problem. Ibuprofen has been found in Arctic zooplankton. And we've got no economy. Time's running out for a good life for children who've already been born. And there is a lack of action. Politicians see a polarization between the economy and the environment, development and the environment. They're not. They can meet in the middle and we can have a win-win for everyone with habitat restoration and development. Interactions with other topics, well, obviously changing temporal and spatial patterns and storms are governed by oceanography. Climate change, well, we have the geoengineering projects that we need to keep an eye on. In the seabed, seals are benthic feeders and they obviously, so the prey availability there is key and mobilised pollutants are a concern. The main fish species that they eat are sand eels, dragonets and mackerel, and those prey are potentially shifting, which is a key driver for where seals are. Seabirds and cetaceans will have spatial overlap and potentially competition. Ocean fronts obviously affect food availability and the range of those might be varying. Marine and terrestrial plans, well, in Cornwall, we're lucky. We've got a local nature recovery strategy that's already been adopted, as well as a voluntary marine nature recovery framework. We need to have more people management and more issue mitigation. The MPAs need to be site-based approach and they need to have seals included. Fisheries, well, there's a huge impact in terms of prey, bycatch and entanglement. The quality of water is affected by toxins, turbidity, and more recently algal blooms that produce domoic acid, which is a neural toxin for seals. Plastic pollution is a continuing issue with lost fishing gear, flying rings, and microplastics that have even been found now in seal fetuses passing through with the milk. And floating wind, we're hoping that there's a great new potential for new haul-outs with seal-friendly platforms and also non-invasive acoustic monitoring to assess where seal foraging areas are. So to conclude, Seal Research Trust volunteers, rangers and our partners are very busy, active and effective. Stable seals around Cornwall in terms of abundance, but with immigration, lots of complexity and lots of variation through time. The Celtic Sea migration means more seals visit Cornwall than we see on our counts. Photo ID adds depth to inform conservation of seals issue and their needs. Seal habitat is changing. Seals are moving from the north to the west to the south and from big sites to small sites. Seals in the southwest might be in trouble, with pups and males being in big trouble if you look at the deaths data. The management of people around seals is absolutely vital, but we definitely need that law change. We're all stronger together, and we need to grow our audience hugely. The ocean is the next commercial frontier, which is frankly terrifying, but emission reductions are vital for all of us, and we need to localise our lives. And why do we do this? Well, because we love seals, but because we want to protect not only the next generation of seals, but also the next generation of seals. Of people. Sorry, we need to protect the next generation of seals and people. Thank you very much. That's me finished. I will stop recording, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the